I want to tell the youngsters of this country, people talk about AI. But it's important to understand that AI on its own is absolutely meaningless. Because AI operates on top of data. Without data, AI means nothing. And if we look at data today, there is one thing which is very clear. Every single piece of data that comes out of the production system in the world, the data that was used to make this phone, the data that is used to make electric cars, the data that is used to make basically all electronics on the planet today is owned by China. And the consumption data is owned by the United States. In China, the consumption data is owned by China, but in India, companies like Google, companies like Facebook, companies like Instagram, X, they own our consumption data. So if India wants to talk about AI, it has to first answer the question, what data is going to power that AI? And the answer today is India does not have that data. Neither does India have production data, neither does India have consumption data. We have handed our consumption data to the big American companies, and the production data we don't have anyway. So what would that vision look like? The first thing, we would start getting youngsters excited about this revolution. We would start to introduce the idea of a completely new way of moving, a complete revolution in how things move. We would start teaching our children in schools about batteries, about electric motors, about how these things combine, about how drones, robots, electric cars are structured, how they will work together. And most important, we have to start building a production network so that we can get access to production data. Now, what would we focus on? We would not give you a laundry list. China has at least a 10-year lead on India in this space. China has been working on batteries, robots, motors, optics for the last 10 years, and we are behind. So what would our president's address say to the youngsters? We will choose critical areas in each one of these technologies, and we will start to build capabilities in those areas. The second thing we would do, we would ensure that our banking system is not captured by 2 or 3 companies that basically do not allow you to build a production system. But our banking system is open, is dynamic, and is accessible to small and medium businesses and to millions and millions of entrepreneurs who want to take part in this revolution. Our foreign policy would take into account this revolution. When we talk to the United States, we would not send our foreign minister to invite our prime minister to his coronation. We will not send him 3 or 4 times, please invite our prime minister. Because if we had a production system and if we were working on these technologies, the American president would come here and invite the prime minister. So it is important to understand where
Please. Foreign policy. Leader of opposition cannot make such serious, unsubstantiated statements. This is related to the relation between 2 countries. And he is making an unverified statement about invitation of the Prime Minister of our country. It's matter of our dignity. How can you make such kind of statement? He's leader of opposition, sir. He should be responsible in making such statement. Sir.
LOP is giving us very positive suggestions. Why they are worried, sir? For the country, he is giving.
Leader of opposition has the information from any official source. He must inform the House. if leader of opposition has the information, please inform the House who has told you that foreign ministers visited for the purpose which you have mentioned. You must specify it.
So, I'm sorry that disturbed you, that question. I apologize for disturbing your peace of mind. It's okay. I've apologized. I've apologized for disturbing your peace of mind. I'm sorry.
Apologize for lying to the House. ऐसा नहीं होता है. तो सीरियस होना चाहिए लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन को. कम से कम देश के मामले में तो एक हो. देश के मामले में तो एक वॉइस से बोलना चाहिए. ये गलत बात है. ये ठीक नहीं है. लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन को इस तरह का बयानबाजी नहीं करना चाहिए. ये गंभीर विषय पर चर्चा चल रही है. देश का गौरव विषय है.
So we would start by telling our young men and women that they have to be at the forefront of this revolution. We cannot afford that the Chinese are at the forefront of this revolution. Number one. Number two, we would ensure that the absolute best experts on these technologies would talk to our students, would talk to our youngsters and guide them on what a future, on what these future technologies are going to do. We would make them partners in this revolution. Now, we talk about defense. And today, we have the Chinese. And the Prime Minister has denied it. And the army has contradicted the Prime Minister. It's true. The Prime Minister has denied it. The Prime Minister has denied it. And the army has disagreed with the Prime Minister that China is sitting on 4,000 square kilometers of our land, of our territory.
ऐसा इस सदन में अब मन चाहे बात नहीं बोल सकते हैं. ये बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है सर. ये सीरियस मामला है. आप फॉरेन पॉलिसी पे, बॉर्डर इश्यू पर आप अपना कैसे मजाक बात कर सकते हैं. अपना मन मरन कहानी आप बना के बोल रहे हैं. ये तो बहुत सीरियस मामला है.
विदेशी प्रतिपक्ष के नेता जो आप विषय बोल रहे हैं, जो विषय आप बोल रहे हैं, उसके तथ्यों को सदन के पटल पे रखना. आप
पानी.
मेरा अनुरोध है लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन बोलिए, हम लोग शांति से सुनेंगे. ये आपका अधिकार है बोलने का, मगर आप मन चाहे ऐसा सीरियस इशू पे कैसे बोल सकते हैं. ये सीरियस मामला है.
आप सदन में
बोलते हो, फॉरेन मिनिस्टर का बात करते हो, सीमा का ऑफिसर वर्जन से अलग बात करते हैं. ऐसा मत बोलिए. ये देश के लिए ठीक नहीं है. आपको सीरियस होना पड़ेगा लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन. ये गंभीर मामले को आप ऐसा
The Prime Minister has denied that Chinese forces are inside our territory, but for some reason our army keeps talking to the Chinese about their entry into our territory, and our Chief of Army Staff has said that the Chinese are inside our territory. This is a fact. This is not invention, this is a fact. Now, but the reason China is inside our territory is important. Because people think that wars are fought between armies and their weapons. But the fact of the matter is that wars are fought by industrial systems. The fact of the matter is that China has an industrial system that is far stronger, far bigger than our industrial system. And that is why they have the guts to come inside this country. The reason China is sitting inside this country is because Make in India has failed, The reason China is sitting inside this country is because India is refusing to produce. And I'm worried that India is going to give up this revolution to the Chinese once again. The reason I made this reference is because everything is connected. If and when we fight a war with China, we will be fighting with Chinese electric motors, Chinese batteries, Chinese optics, and we will be buying Chinese motors, Chinese optics, Chinese batteries. It is a non-sustainable proposition. That is why for our security, for the future of our children, for the future of our country, we have to build a production system, and we cannot allow this revolution to go by.